So
You're
of the
number
10 siblings, I'm the fifth child. Yeah.
Okay, so
I am just the most middle child.
hello and welcome to another episode of Cosmic Chats. Today we have Lutz, who's located in Los Angeles. He's born and raised in Alabama and Florida and is a performance artist and does a comedy. But today he is just going to really tell all about the challenges of being a middle child. And even though his father was a pastor, being left no less than 4 times under a pew and everyone else had gone. So how would you describe the taste of a banana to someone who's never eaten one?
Like baby food, but like a more solid baby food. If they have the frame of reference of baby food, I would say more solid baby food.
Oh, that's so adorable. Oh my God, only one other person who's talked about baby food. And that was this wonderful maternal healer lady. And
Aww.
You're the second.
I have babies on the mind because I visited home and my sister just had a baby. So he's like 11 months old and we just hung out the entire time. So yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of fluids involved.
Yes, he particularly, he's always smiling, such a happy baby, but does just vomit all the time. And I don't know, and he's happy doing it. You're holding him, you're laughing with him, and he just spits all over you. And then he's still smiling, so I just keep smiling, holding him. Yeah.
Adorable. Now, you probably went back and had a few memories of your own. Do you know when you had your first existential life crisis as a child?
Yes, because I'm not wearing my glasses now, but I usually I'm wearing my contacts, but I usually have glasses on. And when I was a kid, I didn't know I had bad vision until my sister got glasses. And then she started wearing her glasses and I tried them on and I was like, oh, I can see. And then so I talked to my dad and I was like, hey, I think I need glasses too. And he was like, no, you're just doing that because Ashlyn got glasses. And I was like, am I just doing it because Ashlyn got glasses? No, I really can't see without glasses. But I had to like question everything. I was like, this is my dad, but he didn't know like he couldn't see that I couldn't see, you know?
Did you not have eye checkup?
No. The first time I went to the eye doctor was to get glasses. Yeah.
Right. So it wasn't part of a regular physical.
No.
Okay.
I also, for context, have a bunch of brothers and sisters. I have 6 sisters and 3 brothers. So like we were all good, but like, yeah, things like doctor, like checkup, stuff like that. My mom's also very like homeopathic in her, like in the way that she raised us. So yeah, not a lot of eye visits or stuff like that.
So you were how old?
I was 10 years old when I got glasses. So everything before that, I was like squinting and like sitting close to the TV. Yeah.
And how old were you when you talked to your dad?
About that?
Oh, you're about that age. Yeah, about that.
Yeah. I mentioned it because I didn't know I couldn't see until I tried on the glasses.
So you were still 10, you were around 10.
Yeah, 10 years old.
And where in the chronological order of the siblings are you?
I'm number 5. So of the 10 siblings, I'm the 5th child. Yeah.
Okay, so
I am just the most middle child. There's just 4 on either side of me. Yeah. No.
So
yeah.
The 4 before you all needed glasses?
No. Nobody else older than me ever needed glasses.
Oh, so Ashlyn is younger than you?
Yes, Ashlyn is 2 years younger than I am.
And were you guys thick as thieves?
We are. No, Ashlyn and I, to this day, we still are like, I FaceTime and try to like keep connected to all of my siblings, but Ashlyn and I are FaceTiming on a daily basis. Yeah.
Okay. And how are you in regards to age gap?
2 years. So Ashlyn and I went to the same college together, went to the same high school together. Yeah. And I'm trying to get her to move out to Los Angeles too.
And you were raised in Atlanta?
Pensacola, Florida is where I was born. Yeah, we
Okay.
just go to Atlanta for Six Flags because we'll rent a big house and then we all stay. I think I counted, there was 23 people that stayed in the house because everybody brought their kids and their significant others. So it was nutty.
So definitely the middle child syndrome. Do you think that she also experienced a bit of that? Because, 5 and 6?
Yeah. No, we definitely both I think we have different coping mechanisms for it. Because I'm very much like, I see what I need to do. But once Ashlyn got out from the umbrella, I think she was like, no, like she stopped. I don't know. It feels like she denounced the middle child and is no longer overly attentive of everybody's feelings. Meanwhile, I'm still trying to bounce around between everybody. Yeah.
I see. So you were, but at one point that you were the youngest, and when you were 10, obviously you were not. So how many were there below you when you were 10?
So we're all pretty much exactly 2 years apart, down the line. So if I was 10, there were 4 other kids under me. Okay. And then one on the way. Yeah. Because Alan, I'm exactly 10 years older than my youngest brother.
I see. So at that point, did you know at 10 that was the last one that was coming?
No. Well, I think once he was born, everybody was like, Alan's the last one, right? And we were like, yes, please. There was a group decision that we were like, we're not doing this anymore.
So you've definitely had this realization. You went into the eye doctor. What got you to the eye doctor though? What got them to listen?
I was sitting in the back of my 4th grade class, and so my teacher would do daily cursive on the board. And so I was in the back of the class and I was like, I can't see anything. So I told her, and I was couldn't see anything. I told her that I couldn't see anything. So she moved me to the very front of the class. I was sitting in the front row, and I just started crying because I still couldn't see the board. I was 5 or 6 feet away and I could not see. So until I got glasses, I was sitting under the board writing my cursive.
How did you get through the grades beforehand though?
Listening. My vision probably got worse as I got older. But yeah, a lot of stuff was on sheets of paper in front of me. So that's just tests and everything like that I would do.
Would you say as a result, you have developed a keen sense of listening?
I think so. I think it's coupled with the fact that I'm just care for that many people and am a people pleaser. I think I am just more attentive. The combination of those two things makes me very on edge, not on the edge, but more aware. I try to play the game more, the more people there are.
When you termed yourself as a people pleaser, what happened for you to decide that was who you were?
I think it was the way I would react around certain people. I could kind of tell what people want me to say sometimes. It's they kind of I will assess who I think they are, and then act a certain way based on how I think they perceive me.
So where do you remember in your earliest childhood you doing that?
Church. My dad was actually a pastor growing up. So it was just a thing of people, you have to look at people in the eye when you talk to them, which was difficult because I couldn't see. And so he would you have to look at people, you have to talk to them. And then also my mother was we are an extension of your father. So people at this building need to see us a very particular way. So it was that was probably the first role that I was playing was I'm at church. I have to act like I'm at church.
Did you ever break away for that and decide not to go?
No, I was such a good church kid. I did until from birth until 18. I was very involved. I played bass for the church, did all of the youth stuff. And then when I went to college, my dad stopped being a pastor. And then when I went home for the first time, there was like alcohol in the fridge. People were cussing. Soon people were vaping. And I was like, well, I guess I'll do it too. But it was just like, yeah, everybody just switched it up on me. And I was just.
Wait a second. You did not take a moment to say, why are we doing this? You just did it and went along with the crowd.
Well, I think I never. So I have an older sister with very strong conviction that she like still holds. And it's not just like religiously, it's more of like upbringing. Like the way that I grew up with church was, it was like a structure that I liked to have. Not necessarily, like I questioned like the beliefs of church, and even at the time was like, I'm an atheist, but it was still the structure of church, I felt like held everything together.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they dropped it, it was like, what are we going to do as a family? You know, church is such like that was the only thing that we all did together, was like go to church and do that. So when that was gone, I was like, what are we doing? I was already kind of going down like a rebellious route, but it was like quiet, and I was like doing it on my own and keep everything in check. But yeah, it just changed it up on me.
You literally came home and everything changed. There was no discussion beforehand with your family.
No, my dad called me in September of 2015, which is when I started college. And he was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go to church anymore. And then I visited probably in December for Christmas. And then, yeah, people were like drinking a little bit. And also Ashlyn, I think that was when Ashlyn seized the moment to kind of like do this. She was like, oh, if we're not doing this, then I'm going to fully act the way that I'm going to act no matter what, because we had to drop that guise of church. There was no reason to perform for people and act a certain way.
Did you feel that then it was as if a weight was lifted off of the family? Everyone was being who they really were, who you knew they were?
Yeah. And I think that like to the people that church really mattered to, they still like hold that. Like my mother is still like a religious woman, and my older sister still religious as well, and like works in a church still. But yeah, everybody else that was kind of like on the edge and like doing things just for the face of doing things, I think did kind of open up and get like hobbies that weren't just like youth band, which I'm happy, I'm grateful that I learned an instrument, but there are other things that I just never did because my whole life was just in the church.
But everything between your parents was good?
Like their relationship?
Yeah, even though he decided he was not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like,
okay.
like my this is a joke. My sister Ashlyn like talks about how my parents tried to have children to save their marriage, and they ended up having 10 children. And they are good. Right now they are really good. But growing up, there was some fighting and some fussing that was, yeah.
Right. Do you think a lot of that was in order to keep up appearances for someone who's a pastor?
I think even people at church were like, you don't need any more kids. I think that.
No, I don't mean having children. I mean like just staying together.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a part of it. And there was so many of us too that like, I think just technically, I think it would be just very difficult without just like cutting it and taking half, there'd be so many. And I do think their relationship has improved as the years have gotten on, probably with less kids in the house. They can focus on like building that relationship.
Stressful. Yeah. What do you think you had gleaned from it? Did you come away with, I'm not going to be in a committed relationship for a long time until I've done what I need to do? Or did you glean, no, you find someone young and you traverse through experiences?
Yeah, I think it has made me wary of relationships, but it's also they said things and like did things that I'm like, okay, I'm never going to do those things. So if anything, it's like I'm just able to use their relationship, the goods and the bads, to be like, I'm not going to do this. I am going to do this, and learn from it more than I think it has made me kind of dependent on relationships, and that like I like somebody to be there and like validate me, but I don't know. It is also it's important to me that they stay together because I know that's like a blessing to have like a 2-parent household. So I'm grateful that they did that, but there are probably negative and positive repercussions from it.
Do you have any examples of people you know who have split up but have that great example of being loving parents?
I know I have like I have a lot of friends who are very close with one of their parents, but the other one is like kind of distant, and that's also very. I'm not saying like all the case for everybody, but I do my friends. It seems like they wanted that. They like told me that they like wish they would have had both, and so I'm grateful just hearing from them.
You think that there will be a time that you will be free from what happened when you were growing up with the role models and be able to simply live a relationship the way you are without being codependent?
Yeah, and I think I think that's one of the reasons I like doing comedy is because I'm able to like say those things out loud. And like I was talking to my girlfriend after we did a open mic together, and I said something. I talked about how my mom shared private information about her like sexual relationship with my dad, and like told me like specific like can I it's not lewd or anything. It's just like,
Oh, you share whatever you want.
she was like, she said, your dad doesn't like to use condoms because he said it's like wearing a rain jacket in the shower.
Okay.
And that did stick with me. I was like, that's weird. And then my girlfriend told me, she was like, that's like a thing, that's like a form of emotional incest.
Yes.
Like that's like right. It's a lot of information that I, as like a 13-year-old, don't know how to process. I'm just like, so I think I like to talk about that because I know that it's ridiculous, but it also does help me. It validates me in being like, that was weird. Like that was a weird situation that happened, right? And then people laughing is like, okay, that was weird. Yeah.
So as a middle child, you definitely felt that you were always trying to get validated and you weren't sure whether your intuition was right or not.
Yeah. Because it's like, I think there were a lot of, especially when you're like trying to take care of somebody, when they show doubt in you, it like makes me doubt because it's like, I care about you and your opinion. So you doubting me makes me doubt myself more than I should because it's coming from that source of, oh, this person loves me, you know?
And where does that originate from?
I don't know. It probably is like from a lot of little things, like being gaslit into thinking that I didn't have a vision problem or like,
you literally were told you can't see.
Yeah. And like everybody around too was kind of like the other adults in the class, like they were the ones that wrote a note home being like, your son can't see, you know, I'm sitting in front of the board. And it's like, that was like
literally wasn't seen and couldn't see.
Yeah. This is sad, but like funny. There were times where I would, venture off or whatever, and then fall asleep like somewhere and then just be forgotten. I woke up under a church pew like 4 times, which is not a lot, but it's more than it should happen. I was a kid.
Now, wait, you woke up under a church pew 4 times. Was anyone else in church?
No. So I would go and explore, do something. And there were a couple of times where I fell asleep somewhere and everybody just left and I was alone at church. And it was,
you need validation. You have abandonment.
Yep.
And so what kind of recourse do you do to help yourself get centered from these triggers?
Well, one of the things that I have to do is I am strong. I have to validate myself internally, which is something that I'm not good at doing, but I'm working on doing. It's generating I am good. I am funny and enough and all of that, like making that come internally, and just kind of like minimizing the doubt that I have in myself. Because I do, when I don't have that validation coming in, I do doubt, because that's where I have always gotten it. I've always had people around me to sort of like validate and say, good job, and keep going. And so when I don't have that, it does stress me out.
You find that if you go on stage and you are looking for people specifically to validate you through laughter, that your set doesn't do as well?
Yeah, absolutely. When I worry about it, and I'm worrying like, what are all these people going to think, this and that, I spiral. I talk too fast. I knock the mic over. But when I do just go up there and I just talk, and I just voice what I'm feeling, that is when I do the best. And I think that's something that I'm trying and working on doing in my like real life too, is not having everybody that like not being dependent on what people want from me in order to do anything, like
freedom,
figuring
right?
out.
You want to be free to be who you are. And the validation is you're caught within that web, and needing to be validated either by people pleasing, right? If you're okay, I'm okay. Or getting in relationships with, let's just say, the person who initiated the relationship was interested in you,
Yes,
right? And
exactly.
you don't make that effort, right? Because if they come to you and then you do what they say, it's actually a form of codependency.
Yeah.
Even though it seems like, oh no, I'm like Mr. Cool, not that you would be Mr. Cool, but that you'll sort of have this element behind it, and that creates something called, it's the I forget what it's called. I think it begins with it's not abandonment theory. It's not. It's where people think that they're actually very independent, but they're actually codependent, and get into a codependent relationship, and then wonder why that person is then controlling of them, or we have to do what they do because you were the one that was following a certain way, and then it and unable to break off an unhealthy relationship. Right. So the relationships, no matter what they are, friendships, when there is a lack of respect is where everything demises. As long as there's continued respect, then all kinds of outside cultural dogma or ideas of what you're supposed to be can actually be, changed and shifted, as long as you know inside that you're within. And, these ideas that actually keep people from connecting within from who they are, having to either marry or not marry, have to look a certain way from the outsides, oh, this is not done. Why is it not done? Right. And then keep within an acceptable construct, or be the weird person that you really are, and enjoying it. And secretly people are, jealous most of the time, of, oh, there's that really eccentric person. Wish that they could actually be as free. But going inward, a lot of the time when we have a meditation, if you're wondering what the meditation practice is that we do, there's a free ebook. It's called Vedic Meditation Stories. It's free if you have Amazon Unlimited Prime. You just download it. You don't need a Kindle. It's the only publication that has real stories from people who would never meditate, who learned the practice. And what they found was they were able to go inward. All right. The system allows the body to just sort of follow very, very, very easily, get to a place of deep rest. And when we have our body, that nervous system stops running on trying to please people, trying to be this, trying to be that, we then start to have an imprint on our physiology and the nervous system moving forward, that we don't have to try so hard. And this can be, not even achieved from years of wisdom, right? That's not really needed. And one can then start to discern and have more clarity of, that's not a healthy relationship. That's codependency right there. I don't want to be that. I want to be free, right? If we can get to that freedom feeling of who we are inside, in all places, then we will not try so hard, right? And maybe start bringing in what's often resorted to being called a soul tribe.
Yeah.
Right? You're people who simply accept you as you are. Having a big family, what would you say is a middle child? If you have any nieces or nephews that you see are middle children, what would you want to whisper to them to help them out?
I think just like, it is hard too, because like so much of being a kid is like your parents. Like your parents just are what makes you for the early portion of your life. So I think just like relax and like, I don't know. One of the things that I had to learn is like everything's not personal. Like people aren't ignoring you because they hate you and they want you to never talk to them again. There's a lot going on. People aren't, they're not, he's likely, my dad probably was like, you don't need glasses a couple times. And then they wrote from school, but as a kid, that was just like, I felt so betrayed in the moment because that was my dad. I don't think it was personal. He has 9 other children, but it is just, don't take things personal and like, and it's cliche, but it's cliche because it's true. Like be yourself and like, figure out who that is. Like figure out who you are and then be that. And it's every day.
Figure that out though. What would you say is, do you think that part of the challenge is there isn't a growing up parental consciousness, not everyone, okay, some people do, of allowing the child to be who they are?
Yeah. I think it's very important to give children, give anybody a source of expression. Like, I mean, art, drawing, comedy, sports, like all of that is a form of expression that if you don't have, I think makes it hard to find your place in the world when you're just being told what to do and being told and guided down a specific path and you're never able to branch off of that. I think it limits the way you think, it limits the way you view the world and your place in it too.
Do you think there are some constructs within your own generation that you believe have hindered you?
Constructs being like within my
your generation growing up with technology, for example.
I feel like I'm in a weird spot where I was raised in the South. I was Alabama and Florida is primarily where I grew up, and I got internet when I was like 13, and I was just like, wow, everything is on here. Like everything is available to me. Whereas like my older brother and sister, who are only like 2 and 4 years older than me, they like missed some probably crucial window that was like internet literacy that I have and honestly don't know what to do with. And it is weird because the people after me, like my younger sisters, they have it they've had iPads their whole lives and can just edit videos and do all this stuff very quickly. And so I'm in this weird middle ground where I want to either be fully ignorant of it or be a master of it, and I'm weirdly in the middle.
So would you say that there are advantages of being completely online or not?
I think more often than not, it's probably negative to be online or offline. Online, I think there are people with specific, they want to make money. It generates revenue. And to do that, you do certain things. You make children see and have.
I thought you were going to say you make children.
It probably is just big diapers trying to get people to make children.
Well, with that, we want to encourage everyone to like and subscribe for this particular revenue stream. No, I'm kidding. Please, if you've enjoyed Luke, please put a lovely message in the comments or share the chat with you. The ebook, any profits from it go to the nonprofit. If you want to join us and find out what we're doing more, please drop us a note or check out the website aware-meditation.com. I primarily wish to go into underrepresented groups and bring them a practice of meditation, which will help give deep rest, allow them to be self-sufficient, where they don't have to believe in any religion for it to work, but have that capacity to find a different way to deal with a stress and live in a place where one can discern, who am I? All right, well, with that, thank you so much, Luke, for joining us, and we will see you on the next Cosmic Chats.